Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Elevation. Donnie, how's it going tonight, buddy?
Oh, it's going all right. Looking forward to another great show.
Yeah, we got another great show lined up here. We've got the one and only Hollow Jamie Hall going to be joining us tonight. The one loss Hollow Jamie Hall, that is.
Again,
Just coming off of that first loss. Can you believe it, Donnie?
no, but again, we established that that loss was, there was some extra things going on in that loss. So one on one, maybe stretching that a little bit.
Oh, excuses, excuses. If it was anybody else, you would not be making those excuses for him.
Probably not. Probably not. You know,
So
I'm sure Ace
definitely
Christian has
looking
something to
forward
say about
to definitely looking forward to talking with him though. You know, gonna definitely be interesting to see what he's got to say.
that. Yeah, should definitely be interesting. It's not the first time he's been on the show. So we know a lot of the backstory, but there's just so much that's been going on between him and Carlson. It's going to be interesting to really see how personal this is. And if Carlson didn't have the belt, is Carlson still your target? Has it got to that point yet, or are you just after him because of the belt? Questions we need answers to, right?
At this point though, I think it has gotten personal. I don't think it's about the belt at all, but we'll see what he's got to say because like I say, that first loss that came now at the hands of Y Keys,
Mm.
and yes, as you have pointed out, there was the question because of you know uh, the ranch hand being out there and ranch hand kind of managing Y Keys for a moment, but nothing that a manager wouldn't do for their person. He didn't interfere in the match, but that
Hey, Gabe.
that's neither here nor there. But before we get to all that, we have got to talk about spring spectacular. Or spring spectacle. I'm sorry. Here I go already, just messing things up. But
It
spring,
was spectacular and a spectacle all at the same time. We'll get to that.
exactly. You know, spring spectacle. It had a few twists, a few questions, and a few unexpected things happen. You know, and for this one, make sure that I'm right here. Yep. Okay. For this one, you know, Y Keys helped pick for the fans weigh in, which I've got a fan all lined up for tonight. We're ready to go. But the picks came out with Y Keys got 5 of them right. Donnie got 4 right. And I only got 3 right. That's the first time. I think that's one thing that myself and Jamie might have in common is that's my first loss, I think.
Gavin's rubbed off on you, man. You're over on Gavin's island now. Feels
But
nice.
let's run through this here real quick, and then for those who might not have been there or might not have seen these things that were posted, our first match we had Tyler Hastings versus Cisco. This was a hard hitting match. A lot of action here between the two of them. And, there were times it looked like it could have been over and Cisco was going to win this thing, but Tyler would kick out. There were several times that we thought Tyler was going to end it sooner than what he did. And Cisco kicked out. So a lot of back and forth. But in the end, we did see Tyler Hastings come out with the victory over Cisco. What was your thoughts on this match, Donnie?
Again, like you said, it was a great match. Tyler Hastings, I love the new attitude that Tyler Hastings has. He's still the guy with the supply, but now he's supplying a whole lot of pain to everybody that stands in front of him. Tyler Hastings came out and took care of business again. This time it just happened to be the gatekeeper, trying to keep the gate closed. And you can't do that with Tyler Hastings. He's just going to jump right over it, and then he's going to kick you in the teeth a couple times. You know, I'm not going to say there wasn't any controversy. People tell me there was controversy in the match. Again, I didn't see anything, nefarious. I saw Tyler Hastings win clean 1, 2, 3, despite what other people wanted to tell me afterwards. And Papa Scott films it anyway, and so did one. So we're going to see what happened.
Though that's always the way it is. Though you and Joey, y'all never see nothing. I tell you.
It wasn't the ref that match, though. I don't think.
So after that, we went in to a tag team match where we saw Tommy Vex and Ace Christian versus the Commission. Now, this was the first time I believe the WDWA crowd had seen the Commission. So, I don't think they knew exactly what to expect from the Commission, but we didn't know what to expect from Tommy Vex and Ace Christian either, because they did not seem to be on the same page when everything started out. They didn't come out together. Tommy made Ace hold the ropes for him. They did not seem to be on the same page at all. But as the match went on, they ended up actually winning. It came out that Vex got a tag right there towards the end and ended up winning this thing, which really shocked me, because I didn't think that they would be able to overcome not being on the same page. But they did it, and kudos to them. So, Ace, I heard a lot about not picking you for this one. I'm sure you're watching tonight. I'm sure you're waiting to see if I pick you again. But you were right. I was wrong. You won. Congratulations. And, it is what it is.
I mean, to be fair, I did not pick Tommy Vex and Ace Christian either, because we automatically assumed what we ended up getting to begin with. They didn't come out together. They weren't on the same page. Vex didn't even want in the match. He was lounging on the side of the ring. He wasn't taking the tag. He was letting Ace Christian, the blaze, get snuffed out basically by the Commission. And there came a point where Tommy Vex, like you said, did get tagged in. A pissed off Tommy Vex got tagged in. He was pissed off. He's like, I wasn't bothering you guys. I was over here lounging on the side of the apron, and you wanted to get me involved. So now I'm involved. And it ended up, backfiring on the Commission. So Commission, their debut in WDWA is going to show one loss. And the interesting question from this, is this going to become something with Vex and Ace Christian? Are they going to team again? Could we see them, going for tag titles in the future? Some tag team tournament showdown we have coming up. Who knows? But they ended up being a good team in the end.
We always end up with more questions than answers. So this is just another one of those things, where we end up with more questions. So, we started out with the question, were they going to be on the same page? Could they pull it out? And we found out at first, no, they weren't going to be on the same page, but yes, they were able to pull it out. So now we have that question: is there going to be more from them? Are they friends now? What's going to happen from here? So definitely a lot of questions, and who knows when we'll get the answers. But from there, we went to another big debut where we saw Buckshot Billy taking on Mason. Now, Buckshot Billy, this was his very first match, not just match in WDWA. This was his first match, period. Um, being trained by WDWA Academy, and wow, you know, I thought he put on a really good show. I thought he did a good job, and he was quite entertaining.
Very much so.
Um, some of the shenanigans, and now when we see him, we're going to have the question: what does he have in his pocket? Because we saw him pull out a banana peel during the match and drop it, and Mason Drake slipped on the banana peel. Um, so what else does he carry in that pocket? I don't know if I want to know, but
I don't know. We
it,
saw him carry out that bottle of moonshine he tried to pass over to you, and I like it
uh,
was set me on fire from a distance. I was like, no, thank you. It didn't even smell like any type of something you should drink. It smelled kind of like jet fuel to me, but he seemed to be enjoying it. I was
yeah,
worried
but
about the condition. I was like,
yeah,
this might just spontaneously combust right here.
after I smelled it, I think I was drunk half the night just off of the smell. But you know, it it came down to Mason Drake had enough, and he locked in the rings of Savage, and that was it.
But
So
Lucha Billy Jr. was over, man. The fans loved Lucha Billy. Sorry, not Lucha Billy.
I was
Buckshot
gonna say
Billy.
I didn't see Lucha Billy. I saw Buckshot Billy, but I didn't see Lucha. But
Other Billy. There were too many Billies there that night. We had Billy Bowers refing a match. I was hoping one Billy would come out of that. I mean, I guess in the end, one Billy did walk out because it took a little bit for Buckshot Billy to get up after being locked in the rings of Savage. Great debut. And how about that music, man? He had his own theme song coming out. Like that was. I like the theme song as well.
yeah, and the fans absolutely loved him. They got the fans up dancing, and even after he lost, he still got the fans up dancing and danced his way right on to the back. So what a thing that was. So congratulations to Buckshot Billy, and can't wait to see more out of him. But then we went into a match here where, let me get the thing here. We saw women's tag team action. We saw the Riot Act versus Tiffany Avatar and Ashton Nicole. You know, this was another great match. Um, some people weren't familiar with the Riot Act. I mean, uh, they'd seen Naya Robles before, but uh, they hadn't seen a lot of them hadn't seen her tag team partner Riley Crow, so they weren't familiar with them. Of course, we've seen Tiffany Avatar before, and so I I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out because there was a lot of talent in that ring, but you know, in the end, the Riot Act came out victorious on this. So
I mean, it's not the first time the Riot Act is teamed together. That's not even all of the Riot Act. We mentioned it. That was two of the three members of the Riot Act. So maybe one day we'll see all three of them in WDWA. But they just overpowered. The Riot Act came out. They were savage. Some of the things that they did and everything that you'll see on Frontline, yeah, it was completely unexpected. But then the Riot Act's been teaming together for a long time. And I feel like maybe Ashley Nicole and Tiffany Avatar might have just joined together for that night, and it didn't end up well for them.
no, not at all. But after that great match, then we went into a chair on a pole match where we saw Bo Ross go against Vic Jones, or as you have kind of dubbed him, Vicious Vic Jones. And he showed that he is quite vicious. Vic was the one that ended up getting the chair off of the pole, but I think Bo actually used the chair a little more than Vic did, honestly. But Bo got the worst end of things. And Bo ended up getting pinned, and Vic came out with a victory on this one. And not only did Bo end up getting pinned, uh, just as a warning here, this might be a little graphic, but Bo also came away with 7 staples in his head uh, from a chair from that chair. So you know, heck of a match
And I don't
though.
want to give away. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to give away how that happened with the chair. It wasn't a way you would expect it to happen with the chair, but nevertheless, you see the aftermath. And Susie Haas says 7 stitches. So he's got those 7 stitches and a nice scar now to remind him of his encounter with, vicious Vic Jones. So,
Oh, not 7 stitches, 7 staples.
7
They were
staples. That's right.
they
7
were
staples.
staples in his head. So,
Even
uh, yeah, definitely not the way Bo wanted to end the night, taking a trip to the hospital. But thankfully, Bo is okay. Um, after getting 7 staples, uh, I don't believe he had a concussion, which is a good thing, but I believe he is still being monitored just to be sure. Uh, but um, definitely a rough night for Bo on that end of things. So, hopefully a
Linda
speedy
Wright.
recovery. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying Linda Wright down here said Bo Ross won't forget. I don't know that Bo Ross is going to remember it until he sees it on video.
Yeah, it's I actually have talked to him, and so he he definitely was hurting after that, and but hopefully he recovers quickly and can get back in the ring. And if I know Bo, all this is going to do is make him even more determined and make him want to go after Vic Jones even more. And you know, I'm not sure that I'd want to be Vic Jones. I mean, right now Vic might be thinking, look at what I did. I busted him open, but um, you know, you got to realize, yeah, you did that, but you pissed off Bo Ross, and we have seen what Bo Ross can do when he gets pissed. I mean, just look at the ambulance match and the beating he put on Wraith at that match. So I don't know if I'd want to be one to piss him off, that knowing that he could come back with something like that.
You're right. But then at the same time, if you're Bo Ross and you've been suffering at the hands of Victor Jones since your last match, do you really want to keep going after Victor Jones when Victor has already said, it doesn't concern you? He's moving past you. He wants past you. Just get out of his way. So, I don't think
Well,
that's the kind of person Bo is. He's
not at
not going
all.
to be that way.
So we'll see where this one goes. But then after that, we saw 4-way elimination match for number 1 contenders for tag team. You know, this was another great match, where we saw the Freak Show come out on top. And so the Freak Show is now number 1 contenders for our tag team championship. And but through this match, we saw a lot of action, and it honestly surprised me that the first tag team out of this thing was the Sigma males,
Right.
because they got taken out by Legion, Of course, there was some foul play involved in that one.
We knew
But
Dex would get involved.
yeah, we knew there would be. But no matter what, you know, they got the victory, no matter whether there was foul play or not. Again, well, they got the pin. That is, I guess I shouldn't say they got the victory. Uh, then This Is War was the next tag team to. Am I right on that? Wasn't this?
Yeah, no, you were right.
Yeah, This Is War was the next tag team to be eliminated, and so I was kind of surprised there that at that point This Is War got eliminated next, because I all these tag teams are such good tag teams, but I really thought some of them would have gone further. I mean, honestly, I kind of expected it to come down to This Is War and Sigma Males out of those tag teams, but
I
it
think that was
didn't
the way we
happen that way.
I think that was really the way we were all leaning. I believe both Keys and myself, and possibly you, we all chose the Sigmas. I believe. I know Keys and I chose the Sigmas on that one.
Yeah,
Even
you guys took Sigmas and I took This Is War.
and when you have four tag teams in there they're all hungry. They're both top tag teams. In WDWA right now, it's not everybody can win. Somebody's got to lose, and it was one of those nights where the numbers advantage was the numbers advantage. Dex got involved repeatedly to influence Legion and get Legion to where they were. However, Freak Show has a third member too, and is actually the Freak. So the Freak, we saw him get involved right at the end, and Juan's had it up there a few times. We saw the aftermath of what Axel Crow did to Phoenix. We now have a bald Phoenix. That's the official bird of WDWA, I believe now. So
Yeah, and as as we talk about Axel, the next match was the heavyweight championship match, where we saw Axel Crow versus Austin Kingsley for the heavyweight championship. And, in this one, we saw Austin Kingsley come out victorious on this. But what was crazy was after Austin won, we saw Legion come out and carry Axel Crow off. And, they just went into the back. And when everything was over, I wanted to check on not only Bo, but go check and make sure Axel was okay, see what Legion had done with him. And they were gone. They disappeared. I don't know where they went. I don't know what they did with Axel. I have no idea. And so I'm kind of worried about Axel now after all this. But, as we saw, Austin Kingsley came out victorious and is still our heavyweight champion. So
you're right. But I don't. It's like you said. I don't know that anyone has heard from Axel Crow. If you've heard from Axel Crow, kindly let us know. Who knows what's being done to him at the hands of Legion? And Dex, they were after Axel Crow for a while, and this has went on for a fair amount of time now, for the better part of a year. These guys have been crossing paths, and Crow thought maybe he was past them, and Dex just pulls the rug out from under him again.
Yeah, so I don't know if they have been able to brainwash Axel. I don't want to say take his soul as they did the others, because he's the leader of the Carnival of Souls, and how can you take the soul of the leader of the Carnival of Souls? But I don't know if they've been able to brainwash him, if they've been able to do whatever it is they do. But hopefully we will find out.
But if that's
Danica says she thinks
if
Susie
that's the
hates
cold,
Austin.
is it?
I don't know what gives her that idea. but
I think she's right.
yeah. So another great night, but there again, another night where we were left with more questions than answers. And hopefully we'll get some answers soon, especially on a lot of the questions we have, but I don't know. It remains to be seen. But one thing for sure is if you missed the show, you missed a good show as always. Uh-oh. Um, but yeah, you missed a good show as always. And why is this? Oh, Donnie just disappeared. Um, but be sure I don't know why this won't pull up now. But sorry, having some technical difficulty here. But be sure to tune in to Frontline every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And catch all of the action that you may have missed, because that is the place to get caught up. And unfortunately, for some reason, I can't pull up the video, and I don't know why. But
Uh-oh.
yeah, definitely be sure to catch up on that on Frontline, and that's on Wild Patriot 22 over on YouTube. Juan does one heck of a job with it, and so check that out. So, Donnie, are you back with us now?
Yeah, I think I'm back. I don't know why. Everything seemed to be going great, and then all of a sudden it just froze up. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I should be
Don't.
using a flip phone, Susie. I think I would. I think I would be better off with a flip phone sometimes.
Well, don't feel bad, because for some reason my my controls aren't working properly, but that's okay because it's doing enough that I can get through the show. I think. Just I'm not gonna have our videos, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So
As long as we have our guests and the way in.
all right. So that was a great night, and we have another great night coming up. You know, with this upcoming show, and okay, with Code Red on May 9th. And when we get to Code Red, one person that we are going to see, one thing we're going to see there, and I'm not going to go into too many of the matches yet because we have the fans weigh in, and I don't want to spoil the matches for the fans weigh in, but one match is going to be a best 2 out of 3 fall series, not 2 out of 3 falls match, not all in one night. It's going to be a series. So the first match of the series, it got to be picked by Ranch Hand Carlson. And Ranch Hand decided he was going to pick a lumberjack match, but not just any lumberjack match. This is going to be a lumberjack match where the lumberjacks get to be the fans that'll be selected randomly. Now, that could be very interesting. Uh, we
I
could
don't
see
like the
people
odds
like
on that.
Sheila as lumberjacks, Susie as lumberjacks. Um, this could get interesting. And not just are they going to be lumberjacks, they're going to have straps.
It'd be a civil war. Mm-hmm.
The
It's going to be a
the
civil
main
war in the White House.
exactly because Hollow Jamie
What if they
Hall
both
is
get
going to
straps
be
in the front?
sponsored by Randy Wright, and then you have Ranch Hand Carlson is going to be sponsored by Caitlin's Pet Service, which is husband and wife businesses. So just imagine if they're both selected as lumberjacks. This could get quite interesting. But as I say, his opponent is going to be Hollow Jamie Hall, who is our guest here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hollow Jamie Hall.
Donnie, I'm pretty upset. When you sent me the invite, you said that we were gonna smash some Taco Bell. We're gonna wear some sombreros, and we're gonna talk about old school pro wrestling. And that John wasn't gonna be here tonight. And I understand that that I don't get along with John, and that's probably the only way you could trick me to come on the show. But John, I'm a good sport. I'm here. You got me. So let's do this thing. By the way, this podcast is now unofficially sponsored by Liquid Death. You're welcome.
Yeah, well, when they told me you were going to be the guest,
Yes,
Jamie,
I
I wasn't crazy about the idea, but hey, what can we do?
Well, John,
So-
you're like a cross-eyed discus player. You're not setting any records, but you're keeping me on my toes. And I know you have your version of investigative journalism. And I know you're going to come with the hard-hitting questions. So, as Ranch Hand likes to say, tick, tick, tick.
Well, why don't we go ahead and start with this? We can talk about your upcoming match, this lumberjack match where the fans are the lumberjacks. The fans are going to have a strap that they can beat you guys with. The only real rule is it has to be neck down, can't be any face shots. And so your mindset going into this, what is your mindset like, especially after your first loss in WDWA?
First and foremost, I'm not a fan of how you put the emphasis on loss there, John Haas. I remember emphatically seeing you stand up at the commentators table. So, one day soon you're going to have to settle for that. I don't understand Ranch Hand's frame of mind. I don't think anybody's come into WDWA. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you're itching. With my win-loss record and with my particular set of skills. And the most dangerous place for a wrestler like me is to be inside the squared circle. So now you're putting the emphasis on keeping me in the squared circle. I would have thought, when I heard about this best 2 out of 3 series, I was for sure it was going to be some sort of street fight where, he's such a fan of Taylor Sheridan, where he could use a branding iron or a bull rope or something. But, trying to keep me in the center of the ring, that suits me just fine.
All right. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see this match. But what exactly is your issue with Ranch Hand? I mean, I mean, I know you guys have fought back and forth, and he's been a tough competitor, but what is your actual issue with him? What is it that makes you two dislike each other just so much?
I mean, why did Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair have issues? I think that it's a tale as old as time. Uh, Ranch Hand strikes me as a guy who just wants to have fun. He's there to put on a great show for his fans, and he has a lot of them. God bless him. But I'm a very serious competitor. And when the bell rings, it's time to go to task. There's a job that has to be done. And I take very seriously professional wrestling. I'm not walking in on airs, making light of the legacy and the history, especially when we're speaking about the Mid Atlantic title. And when you speak about the Mid Atlantic territory, I mean, whew, what names come to mind? And that irks me that he walks around. Nice, Susie. Whatever. With that attitude and that mentality when he's carrying that legacy. Now, as far as my issue with him is, he had to be the guy. He was trying to prove himself, and he became what was the 6-0-1 instead of just my 6-0. And then once I got my retribution and I defeated him in the first round of the qualifying for the tournament, the Holy Grail, I was ready to move past. I had proven my point, but I guess it stuck in his craw, like my granddaddy used to say, and he wanted to come back out and put another notch in his gun belt. And without a manager's license, I might add, Donnie, without a manager's license, stood ringside and interfered and ended up costing me what I would have felt like is the Holy Grail. So, yeah, when you say we got issues, I mean, we got issues. And it could have been a best 5 out of 7. I will never get tired of beating his fat ass. So bring it on.
You talk about his fans, but honestly, I would say that Donnie actually has to be a closet fan of Carlson. He sits there with his little cowbell to himself. So,
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say I didn't like Carlson. I liked him a lot more before he started telling with Holler Jamie Hall, and then his actions at Holy Grail, I didn't really care for. He should have stayed out of it. He was already beaten. He knew he was already beaten. And you want to keep saying that he didn't really interfere. Yeah, he pulled out of Jamie. So how is that not interfering? He touched Jamie. He had to pull that belt out of his hands. Jamie had already beat him. And he was going to eat like keys if he wouldn't have been out there.
And
we know that. So with
well, go ahead, Donnie. You had the floor, gentlemen's rules.
No, I was just going to say with this whole thing going with Carlson, is it even once the Mid-Atlantic title finally comes your way for good, is that going to end things, or are you still going to be looking to make an example out of Carlson every time he sticks his greasy head up there?
Well, anytime he wants to drive down from the 4-6s and challenge for what will be my Mid-Atlantic championship, I'll give him a shot. I'm a man of my word. The problem with people like Carlson is, like my granddaddy used to say, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. And Sean Carlson is one of the toughest competitors, bar none, in the locker room. And that just tells you how dumb he is. So this thing could go on forever, because I don't know if I could beat it through his thick skull anytime in the next year or two. But, I'm willing to try.
But Donnie, I'm going to let you handle this here just real quick. I'm going to take care of something, and I will be right back, okay?
Thank God.
Don't worry, I won't be long.
Great.
I don't want you to miss me
So-
too much, James.
I'm sure.
Yeah, John's the kind of guy that can light a room up just by leaving.
I'm sure he's got something nefarious.
No,
Right? Yeah.
anyways.
And look, everything seems to be working a lot better now that John's gone. Man, there's not the lag we were getting before. It's people want to blame my internet. I'm telling you, it's John, because there's no issues right now. You know, I think the ratings for the show just went through the roof. But
No, I agree.
what dream match?
You know
What would be your dream match?
My dream match in WDWA or in all of professional
Anybody
wrestling?
alive and dead versus Jamie Hall. In all
Ooh.
of professional wrestling, anybody alive or dead versus Jamie Hall.
Oh, that's tough. Maybe Harley Race, maybe Tully Blanchard, maybe Arn Anderson, of course, Ric Flair, Terry Funk. You know, I like the men's men. You know, Southern wrestling. So yeah, that's a great question.
Right. I think Bullet Ball would be good in there too. Strong. Mentor wise, kind of along the way, help out a young Jamie Hall. Maybe you still talk to.
Oh yeah, I would love that. So I have a question for you, Donnie. What's your favorite Southern? We'll say Mid-South, Georgia Championship, Florida Championship, the Texas Territories. Who's your favorite wrestler?
I would probably say Bullet Bob Armstrong or maybe Doug Furnace.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you to go there. Bullet Bob classic. Do you prefer Bullet with the mask on or without?
I liked him with the mask on because that's kind of when I started seeing him more and everything. And when he was doing the dance, and you know, he could talk. Bullet could walk. He could talk. He had that strut down. I liked the Bullet when he had the mask on, and everybody knew who it was, but nobody knew who it was at the same time.
His stuff with Jim Cornette,
pretty distinctive for the age, and for that matter, the Tennessee Stud. I liked the Stud a lot during that time, and the feud that he had with the Guerreros, where he rubbed the hot sauce. I believe it was in Hector Guerrero Sr.'s eyes on the air. That was that's I'll remember. I think I'll remember.
Yeah, and then Susie had to come in and ruin this. I was going to say Susie had to come in and ruin this fine moment.
About it before.
Oh, okay. Susie just ruined this moment by saying that I would get my ass beat by Stone Cold Steve Austin. I would cripple that man, Susie. You know, he's like in his 60s. Anyways, continue, Donnie.
With two knee braces on top of that. So.
No, yeah.
Now, I think before we were talking about, too, the dirty white boy, Tony Anthony, back in the day. You know.
No, yeah.
He was another one of those. And some of the angles that got away with Tony Anthony, like, I don't think anyone would actually, in this day and time, do something like that. Like, they really crossed the line a few times back then. They just wouldn't expect it. And nowadays, it just wouldn't happen.
For sure. And then you get into some like the Fabulous Freebirds when you start talking about like that era and that area. Boy, howdy. The stuff they did in Mid-South and the stuff they did in Texas, fantastic. Michael Hayes, fantastic talker. Terry Gordy, one of the best big men of all time. Buddy Roberts, the best heater of all time. So, yeah, good stuff. I would ask John, but John doesn't have an opinion on Southern wrestling because he's probably watching AEW, but nevertheless. Speaking of AEW, not the Sigma Steve.
I don't watch AEW much, honestly.
Okay, well, I like you a little better now. I would ask you to keep talking, but you're going to ruin this beautiful moment that Donnie and I are having. But I know you're going to ask a question, John. You look like you're burning up. Go for it.
Actually, since you're talking about old school wrestling and you're talking about roots and everything, you know, why don't you fill the fans in just a little bit on, you know, how you got into professional wrestling and your roots into the Southern wrestling.
Okay. I'm originally from South Georgia. I don't know if you can tell by this glorious accent. I'm definitely not from West Virginia. Uh, I broke into professional wrestling when I was still in high school. I got involved in an independent circuit at the time. I didn't know independent wrestling was a thing. I broke into it by just helping out, pass out flyers, set up the ring, take down the ring, running music. Eventually, I was wrestling in high school at the time because a few years prior to this, I had met Dusty Rhodes back when Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling was starting up, and Dusty had started the Dick Murdoch Dreammaker School of Wrestling in North Florida. And Dusty, on his application, said that he wouldn't take anybody for professional wrestling school that didn't have amateur background. So I immediately went right and signed up for my high school wrestling team. Flash forward, eventually got the opportunity to start, I guess, being used as a dummy for the wrestlers when they were trying to warm up. And then they decided that I was pretty athletic, pretty good, and I was given a chance. The guy who originally broke me into professional wrestling's name was Insane Tommy Dane, come from the Tennessee territory. Did a lot of crazy stuff I wouldn't recommend. Well, the guy's name was Madman Pondo and Gypsy Joe. Then I started touring the Southeast. About that time, I decided that I wanted to join the United States Army. So I enlisted, went to the Army as a combat medic, did my time, and when I was ready to get out, I went for a TNA gut check. At the time, it was being run by Al Snow. Al Snow essentially said that the next way to get ahead in professional wrestling was to be trained by somebody who had already made an impact in professional wrestling. And that's no knock on my trainer. He was very old school, fantastic human being, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But he had never made it out of the territory system. So I went and immediately signed up and moved out to Iowa. And I was trained with Seth Rollins and Merrick Brave in the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy. I was class 9, no big deal. One of my fellow brothers, you guys have seen Warwolf Creed a few times, fellow Black and Brave graduate, and Alex Taylor, too hot, fantastic crop of guys. But yeah, and took a job in Washington, D.C., and now I'm here, and I'm your problem now, John. Haunting WDWA at every opportunity. Gavin will have me on the show.
Yeah, you mentioned Madman Pondo. I have actually met Madman Pondo. He is actually a very good friend of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And, you know, I didn't actually get to see him in action, but we went down to some death matches they had down in southern West Virginia. And he was supposed to have been in action that night, but he had gotten hurt, but he was still helping with the event. So, you know, got to sit and talk with him for a while. So great guy, Madman Pondo. I really like him and got a lot of respect for him. And, you know, sorry to hear that, you know, he had to come across somebody like you, but that's neither here nor there.
No.
Well, running around with Gypsy Joe, too, there's a lot of small arenas all over Tennessee, Middle Tennessee especially, that are named after Gypsy Joe. He's still held in very high regard there.
That guy's painted
I don't know that a lot of people maybe right. I don't know that a lot of people in this area outside of the interaction he had with, you know, New Jack and everything might, especially maybe the younger guys, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to do a poll and see exactly how many people know of Gypsy Joe and the legacy that he kind of.
No, probably the same amount of people that know that Bullet Bob wore a mask. That'd be the same amount of people that know who Gypsy Joe was.
Or Tommy Rich when he was the Flame, right? I mean, there were a lot of Flames, but for a little while it was Tommy Rich. I always liked that too. The guys that threw the fireballs.
No,
So-
yeah. All right, John, next question. Let's go. You're on the roll.
Well, Donnie was saying earlier, one question that we had that we wanted an answer to is, is this still about winning the title, or is it just about the feud that you have with Carlson, the hatred for Carlson at this point? What is it about? Is it about the title, or is it just about Carlson himself?
Well, yes and yes.
I feel like we did this one already.
To be a professional wrestler and to hold yourself in the highest of esteems is to shoot for a championship. So it's always about the championship. And yes, it is also about how much I get to hurt Carlson when I take that championship from him. And then when I stretch him until he snaps. He does look very pliable. So we'll see. You guys like to talk up my Cobra Clutch, but I'm not a man. I'm not a one-trick pony. I do know a few more holds, if you can believe that, John. I got a few more tricks up my sleeve.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I mean, I'm sure there's still a lot of stuff that WDWA has not seen out of you, and just hopefully we will get to see more of it. And I'm sure there's a whole side of you that we haven't got to know yet. And I mean, how much you mentioned being a combat medic, and that's one thing that we talk about a lot is that you have been a combat medic and they taught you to put people back together. So I'm sure you know exactly how to take them apart if you can put them back together. So how much did playing a combat medic play into your wrestling style and your knowledge of how to hurt people?
Well, that's another great question. I wasn't expecting all these hard-hitting ones from you, John. It plays quite a bit, honestly. I've always been a fan of technical wrestling. Coming from an amateur background, I can appreciate the sweet science that happens inside the squared circle. The United States Army spent over $120,000 out-equipping me, training me, preparing me to go to Afghanistan, outfitting me. A lot of that was in anatomy and physiology. So I do know exactly how people fit together. I used to run sick call. I can understand when a human being walks towards me and they're holding an arm or they're limping a little bit, all the subtle things they may not want to talk about in front of their chain of command. And I can now carry that over directly inside the wrestling ring. And when I see somebody like a Sean Carlson walk over with tape on his elbow or a little limp, I know exactly where to target. You hear me say it quite a bit: break his back, break his spirit, and then put him to sleep. And I feel like some of my favorite pro wrestlers always worked an arm. And, that's low-hanging fruit, John. Anybody can work an arm. Nobody might not be able to work it as well as an Anderson would have, or, working the leg as well as a Ric Flair did in his prime. But, when you break a man's back, when you drop a man on his head, when you twerk on his neck, that's a longevity. That's it becomes personal at that point because, what happens inside that ring can easily affect what happens in his everyday life. So, that's exactly what I'm going to do to Sean Carlson. I'm going to break his back, break his spirit, and I'm going to use everything Uncle Sam taught me. And, I hope he's prepared. I hope he's ready. I hope Mrs. Sean Carlson has, what do they call those things? Power of attorney set up so she can make decisions on behalf of her husband when it comes down to the end of this thing and it's all said and done. She may need it.
Going with the sick call reference, once you do dispose of him, you just need to send him home with, ibuprofen, some Hall's cough drops, and 24-hour substitution. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how he feels the next day.
Tell him to change his socks and walk it off.
So once this is over,
And you were talking about
once this match is over, I believe you get to pick the next stipulation. You want to let us in on what stipulation you're going to pick, or is that you still want to keep it secret until afterwards?
Well, we're guaranteed a second match, that's for sure. And a wise man would wait until the last possible minute to lay out to give his opponent an opportunity to prepare. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. There will be a next match. And, in my head, I'm thinking maybe a submission match, because that would be fun to see exactly what holds Sean Carlson knows. We've seen he's at least studied enough of my film to learn how to put on a Cobra clutch. He didn't torque it right, or else poor R. Kelly would have went to sleep instead of just tapping out. But we'll see. We'll see how much damage I can do this weekend, and we'll see how I'm feeling and how pissed off I am, or how happy I am. I could be feeling in a good mood. I could take pity on him and give him something to at least have a fighting chance in his second match. So we'll see.
Susie says you should do an Iron Man match.
Yeah. I'm surprised Susie can spell Iron Man match. She messed up interference earlier.
So, Donnie, I think I feel like I've been asking more of the questions than you have, and I know you've been absolutely waiting for this interview. So I want to pass it over to you.
Questions while you were off doing whatever you were doing over there. There's some good stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly. We were getting to know each other a little bit.
But no, I was going to ask about the training end of it. We've seen videos, back of the AWA documentary and stuff, what people had to go through training under, Vern Gagne and everything. And you mentioned there were 9 guys in your class, and some of the guys there with Alex Taylor and Werewolf Creed and stuff like that. And then later on going into the Army. How would you compare the training, the training that you went through in wrestling school, and then comparatively, the Army later? Do you think that kind of sets you up for success either direction there?
Yeah. So, good question. The Army definitely focuses more on combat power, speed, stamina to stay in the fight. When I transitioned away from the Army and into the Black and Brave system, they're very focused on CrossFit, not because of how popular it is, but because of the high intensity interval training. And it does seem that style of physical fitness does carry itself over into professional wrestling pretty admirably, as it can replicate the high intensity back and forth that you can get into inside the squared circle in the confines of a professional wrestling match. So I think they kind of went hand in hand. I did a lot of running in the United States Army and a lot of ruck marching. Right. So, not too much of that carries over too well. But as far as like the staying power, the stamina, the drive, the discipline to never give up, never quit, never surrender, that sort of stuff, that's the epitome of what a professional wrestler is. That's right, John. You can shake your head. Yep. You can agree. It's okay.
A lot of the stamina, a lot of the cardio would transfer over and everything. And then, the lessons and knowing that, you've went through boot camp, you've went through, you've had to dig down, and you've learned those lessons, obviously, by that point. You started the wrestling school.
John's smiling.
I can agree because of the fact that, I admit you didn't say anything that's wrong there. So, you know, I give
Oh,
credit where credit is due.
do you?
Just like I give
John's over
Waukes
here
credit for
scheming.
beating you.
Okay, you keep throwing jabs like that, John. This podcast is going to be sponsored by Jim Beam. If you're going to be spicy tonight, you just remember, I know where you're going to be on Saturday, buddy.
But yeah, so
How are
what
you
is your
preparing for Saturday?
How am I preparing for Saturday? The same way I prepared for the first time I took Sean Carlson to the limit. And then the second time when I beat Sean Carlson, besides how tough, insanely tough that man is, it does take a lot to keep his dumbass down. The game plan is the same. I'm going to put him in the Cobra Clutch and I'm going to put him to sleep. Do you know why I love the Cobra Clutch so much, John? Oh, nobody can hear you, John.
Can you hear me now? There.
Yeah, we got you now, brother. This is a
think you're on
Verizon
mute.
commercial.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I know you enjoy inflicting pain, but other than that, why do you love the Cobra Clutch so much?
Because one of my arms goes around the carotid artery, right? But the arm that puts them to sleep is their own arm, John. That's why I don't hook a leg when I go for the pin, because I'm giving them the option to just quit. And when they don't take it, because they're latched onto this idea, this dream that, hey, I'm going to be a champion one day. Hey, I'm going to beat Jamie Hall tonight. When I lock that Cobra Clutch in, and then I bring their arm around and I put it across their own neck, right before they pass out, they beat themselves. They beat themselves, John. Only one person tapped out. Everybody else is gone to sleep. And who tapped out? Former WDWA heavyweight champion Laszlo Arpad, the smartest man. And he didn't even fight. He tapped out immediately because he knew.
Yeah, I do remember that. So
I'm just checking. You like to throw facts up there. So, the big fact checker, Donnie. You got to keep him on his toes. You got to watch those guys. They start making up their own facts.
now I would never do something like that.
Exactly. Like Susie's over here throwing Ace Montana in the chat.
I don't even think he's out of his wheelchair yet.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people mention
I don't
Ace,
either.
but
I don't think Ace is.
I
can do
haven't
his own
seen
stew.
anything of it.
R.
I haven't
Kelly
seen
took him
anything
out.
of Ace in a while.
So
But I think we're getting close to the end here. But so what do you have that you want to say to your opponent for Saturday night? What do you want to say to Ranch Hand Carlson?
maybe not just the opponents. What about all these people out there holding the strap that wants to get a shot in at you?
Well, listen, God bless them, because that's as close as they're going to get to greatness. Saturday night in West Virginia, WDWA Code Red. What do I want to say to Sean Carlson? Are you going to play this to him? Are you going to send this over to him, John?
Well, I could send it to him, but I'm sure he's going to check it out just to see what you have to say about him, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to pinky promise right now, because this is exactly what I want to say to Sean Carlson. In his head, he's probably thinking, Jamie was on a roll. He had all this momentum behind him, but now he's lost to Waukes and we're on even footing. But, to that I would say, Donnie, am I a surfboard? No. I'm a professional wrestler, a damn good one. I don't ride waves.
No.
I make chaos. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just like what I learned how to do in Afghanistan. I'm going to show up. I'm going to disrupt any idea that Sean Carlson has going into that match, because we hear it all the time in professional sports. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And then at that moment, the United States Army taught me that you defer to your lowest level of training, right? And then they also taught me that practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, John. So I've drilled my skills. I'm highly disciplined, trained, ready, professional. I'll put the pro in pro wrestling, son. I'm going to take Ranchan Carlson to school. He's not going to enjoy it. Sean, if you're watching, I'm sorry it's going to be unpleasant, but it will be better for you now if you learn up front what lies in store for you for round 2. So you should just take your beating, as good old JR would say, take you out behind the woodshed. I'm going to toss you out there to those little fans of yours and let them strap you around a little bit. And then when it's all said and done, the match is over. You should just go ahead and be the bigger man, slide that championship over my way, let me hoist it up, and let me carry that Mid-Atlantic Championship with the pride and the prestige that it warrants. Sharing that name of the Mid-Atlantic territory where everybody who just about passed through was a first-round ballot Hall of Famer. That's the kind of legacy that championship carries, and that's exactly how it deserves to be carried. And, Sean, I hope you're ready. Please be ready. This isn't a game. I'm not joking. And I'll see you Saturday, son. Oh, yeah. He called me his daddy in one of the videos, so I'm Carlson's daddy now. So, there's that.
Well, definitely looking forward to Saturday, looking forward to this match. It's, you like to throw JR out there. So in the words of JR, it's going to be a slobber knocker, and I can't wait to see it. And best of luck to you. Thank you for being here. It's been all your pleasure to be with me. And
John, luck is for losers. Donnie, it's been great. I'll catch up with you. But you owe me a $6 though, because
Right.
You told me John wasn't going to be here at all. Anyways, sayonara.
Yeah, I got you.
all right, Donnie, another great interview here. And one thing I want to bring up, I forgot to bring up at the beginning of the show, is this being another great interview. It's actually a milestone, because not only is this episode 24, but tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of the first WDWA and Wrestle Talk podcast Elevation episode. It premiered 1 year ago tomorrow. So this, you might as well say, is our anniversary show. And I think this one went pretty good, just for what it was. And I enjoyed talking to him. In our first show, we had the Cake Boss, Victor Jones, and we also had JTR, both in that show. So
There's some great episodes even early on. I remember, what was it, episode 3 had Misused on it, I believe. I think it was episode 3.
It was right around there, I believe. So, some great episodes, and we're going to continue to put out some great episodes. But one thing we've loved to do, we've done since episode 1, as long as we've had the matches announced so that we could do it. Sometimes it doesn't fall to where we can do it. It is our fans weigh-in. And, I believe one of our very first fans might have been Andrew to come on. But we have a fan that this is his first time joining us for the fans weigh-in. And, we absolutely we really like this guy. We want to thank him because he is always at the shows and he's always throwing in a sponsorship during the shows. As a matter of fact, he is the sponsor for Hollow Jamie Hall this weekend, as he has been a few shows. Of course, his wife is sponsoring Ranch Hand Carlson. Let's welcome Randy Wright, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing great, man. How you doing?
Doing good, Randy. You ready for this Saturday?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Can you hear us?
Pretty good.
So, you ready to get into some matches here?
Great.
Yeah, we're ready for this Saturday.
All right, let's go ahead
One
and get
second,
into
you cut
it.
out.
See, and it's a win-win though.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm just saying it's a win-win because he sponsors Holler Jamie Hall. So, you know, and then your wife sponsors. I'm just saying it's a win-win. Ranch Hand Carlson. So you get to, you know, haul Carlson's carcass off. You know, and wife sponsors.
So, let's start off here with
all those fleas out of his beard.
So let's start off here with AJ Morales versus Tulo Montana for the light heavyweight championship. So let's start off here with AJ Morales versus Tulo Montana for the light heavyweight championship. So let's start off here with AJ Morales versus Tulo Montana for the light heavyweight championship. So, Donnie, why don't you go ahead and start us off on this one?
Oh, all right. It's a tough one. I think maybe we go with the guest first. It's Randy's first time on here. Let Randy start us off.
Only that guy's.
All right. Randy, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I'm going to have to go with AJ.
Randy, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I'm going to have to go with AJ.
All right. So he's going with AJ. Donnie, your thoughts on this one? Donnie? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, this is a tough one. You know, I got to go with Chulo. He's our light heavyweight champion for a reason. And he's crafty, you know. Not that he needs to be. I think Chulo's got that.
Yeah, I got to go with Chulo on this one. You know, I definitely think Chulo's going to keep it and walk out victorious. So it's going to be a heck of a fight, though. That much I'm sure of. So the next match we're going to talk about is Sigma Males versus Legion. Now, we know Legion was the one that eliminated the Sigma Males in the four-way last time. So this time we're going to see him face off one-on-one, and hopefully we might get some answers as to what they did with Axel Crow. I don't know. But you know,
what if Axel shows?
Donnie, who do you think is going to take this one?
Again, what if Axel shows up and he's part of Legion now? What if Titan shows up and he's back with Legion? You know, Dex is going to be there, so there's at least 3 members of Legion. And Legion just got over. They pulled one over on the Sigmas. Sigmas are going to be watching, obviously, but we don't know, again, what's going on with Axel. Is he part of them? Are they going to bring him out? Is he under some kind of mind control? Where's Titan been? Again, it's still going to be 3 guys. Well, 3 demons, and you know, the Sigmas. I got to go with Legion.
All right, so Donnie's going to go with Legion on this one. My pen wants to. There we go. All right.
Sigmas did me dirty last time. I chose the Sigmas to keep.
So Randy, who do you think's going to take this one?
I'm gonna have to go with the Sigma males. I think they're gonna take it the whole way. I
All
think the
right.
Sigma males got this one.
All right. So Randy's going to take Sigma males on this one. So, and I think I'm going to have to agree with him on that, and I'll take the Sigma males as well. I think they want retribution for last match. They want to show that they can beat Legion after Legion took them out of that four-way match, and there were hijinks in that happening. So I think they're going to want to get retribution. So I'm going to have to go with Sigma males. So Donnie, we're going to leave you out there on that island, but I think you're used to that.
I mean,
So
that's fun. Yeah, I mean, the Sigmas burned me last time, so I got to go with Legion. I can't pick against them twice.
then next we
I
have
remember I said that.
Next we have Sadistic Fame going to be taking on the Helm. So on this one, I, I don't really know a whole lot about Sadistic Fame. But I know the Helm, and of course, they're money and power. I don't know. I haven't heard if JTR is going to be there. You may have heard, Donnie. I don't know. You contact JTR more than I do, obviously. You party with him at his
He should be
ranch.
there, but even if he's not, AK Bane's.
Right. You're going to have some money and power there. So I'm going to have to take the Helm on this one, just because of the whole money and power. That it's hard to overcome money and power. And I don't see them being able to do that. But best of luck to them here coming into WDWA. But Randy, who do you think's going to take this one? Best of luck to them here coming into WDWA. But Randy, who do you think's going to take this one?
As much as I don't like them, I think the Helms are gonna take it.
All right, so Randy's going to go with Helm. Donnie?
I'm jumping islands over with you guys. It's going to be the Helm. Again, it's, power and numbers. And we know there's going to be 3 to 4, 5 money and power there, at least, maybe 6. So, yeah, the Helm's got the advantage. Sorry, Tommy Fame. Money and power is about to make you famous.
So then we're going to go into some heavyweight championship action, where we're going to see Ace Christian versus Austin Kingsley. I believe this will be a heck of a match. Whether he believes that I like him or not, Ace really is a heck of a competitor. So I know this is going to be a high intensity match. That's the type of match that Ace really likes, is high intensity, and he's the high flyer. And Austin, he's a good guy. I as far as wrestling goes, I like his style, but I don't see Ace overcoming the numbers factor, as we've already said, because you're going to have that numbers factor with money and power. And now that Money and Power has that title in their clinches, I don't see them letting it go anytime soon. And they're going to do whatever they have to keep it. So there again, I'm going to have to go with Money and Power on this one. So I'm picking against Ace once again. I know I'm going to hear crap about it. if he's not already in the comments saying something, I know first thing he's gonna do when he walks in Saturday is walk right up to me and say, you didn't pick me again." I'm gonna hear it, but it's just that numbers factor of money and power. It's gonna get you every time, and so that's what I got to go with. So, Donnie, your thought?
I totally agree with you. It's going to be Kingsley. It's going to be money and power. I'm not going to have to hear from Ace Christian this time since he's not in the chat right there. But yeah, and I know earlier I said I wasn't going to get burned like I did last time when I picked the Sigmas, but
All
Ace
right.
ended up winning with Tommy Vex. So maybe Tommy Vex is going to show up to help him out here, but one Tommy Vex and one Ace Christian is not going to overcome all the money and power. It's Austin.
So, all right. So then let's go ahead and get Randy's thoughts on this one here.
I'm gonna go with Ace Christian.
All
I think he's
right.
gonna pull off an upset. He's been doing pretty well lately. He might have a not the best win streak, but I think he's gonna get it.
All right. So Randy's going to take Ace on this one. And, I wish Ace the best of luck. I'd love to see Ace pull it out. I know he thinks I don't like him, but, I really do. It's just he's put up against some tough odds. So, all right, the next match we're going to talk about is the Tag Team Championship match, where we are going to see the Freak Show, our number one contenders after that fatal four-way match, or not fatal four-way, elimination four-way match last show, versus our newly crowned tag champs, UCK. Donnie, your thoughts on this match with these two teams?
Okay, well, Freak Show, we know. Well, we don't necessarily know. Freak Show could be 3 members. Maybe the Freak's going to be with them again. We know UCK is coming with all 3 members, and we've seen how Lady Glory gets involved in everything. She is vicious, like insanely vicious, and good at it too. However, we have to remember that the former tag champions are going to be in attendance. So you're going to have Zakar and Clay there. So you don't think Zakar and Clay want to do something to UCK like they've been, giving them hell the last 6 months or so. So yeah, Clay and Zakar is going to be there. They're going to come out. Something's going to happen. And then again, it's the numbers. So then you got 5 people theoretically with, 6 or 7, and depending on how many people you count Manchild as. I'm gonna go with Freak Show.
All right, so Donnie's going to go with Freak Show. Even though you have the Zakar and Clay factor, if Freak Show wins it, I think it's going to be by either a disqualification, a count out, something of that nature. Because I don't see UCK walking out without those titles. They just got a hold of them. They're not going to let them go anytime soon. So I'm going to have to take UCK on this one. But we'll see what happens. So Randy, it's up to you, buddy. Are you going to leave me on the island, or is Dashing Donnie Diablo going to be on the island by himself again? Are you going to leave me on the island, or is Dashing Donnie Diablo going to be on the island by himself again?
I'm sorry, brother, but you'll be on the island.
So you're going to go with Freak Show.
I'm sorry, brother, but you'll be on the island. I think the Freak Show is going to take this one.
All right. Well, that's all right because I've been on the island before. I've been wrong, and I've been on the island and been right. So we'll see what happens. I'll sit out here by myself. That's fine. But then we'll talk about Stevie Grind versus AK Bane. Um, you know, this is probably going to be a heck of a match. I don't know much about Stevie myself, but AK Bane, the feral monster, you know, he wants retribution, I'm sure, after the miscue that he had that cost him his spot in the Holy Grail. And so he's going to come out. I'm sure he's going to be still furious over that. And so I look for AK Bane just to be a rabid monster that nobody's going to want to mess with. And so I'm going to take AK Bane in this one. It's going to be tough. So, Randy, who do you think's going to take this one? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I think AK is gonna take it.
All right, so Randy's going to take AK Bane on this one, and Donnie, it's up to you here. Who's going to take it on this one?
I mean, you said you didn't know a whole lot about. You said you didn't know a whole lot about Stevie Grimes. All you're really going to have to know is how to get a hold of his next of kin to inform him, like, what happened to the kid. To be in there against the Feral Monster, if I was him, I would hope the rest of Money and Power is there to get in Bane's way, because it's the only reason he's going to walk out of there is like maybe somebody has a little bit of mercy on him, because just they say it all the time for Clay. Clay's going to kill you. Well, Bane's going to kill you. He's going to maul you. It's not going to be pretty. He's definitely coming out to make an example out of somebody. Got to go with Bane.
All right. And then Lumberjacks with the strap match. And as we've already said, those Lumberjacks, they are going to be the fans. And they are going to be drawn at random through a raffle. So we don't know what fans will be Lumberjacks. As we said before, there's some fans that could be interesting. You think about Sheila could be a Lumberjack. And that's kind of scary to think of Sheila with a strap and Jamie Hall getting thrown out in her direction. Or you got Susie who will be her birthday. She could be chosen as a lumberjack. Randy himself could be a lumberjack. And I've seen Randy get fired up a time or two, so to put a strap in his hands, that could be quite dangerous. So it's hard to say who those lumberjacks are going to be.
Thinking about the Thunder Road night.
Exactly, So Randy, who do you think is going to take this lumberjack match? Exactly, So Randy, who do you think is going to take this lumberjack match?
Sponsored by us, Jamie Hall.
I disagree.
Yeah, so we got.
I want to see them both get picked to be lumberjack. To stand up the ring to get your hit done on the guys. That's what
that would definitely be interesting, because we got, of course, Randy's taking Hollow Jamie Hall, who he is sponsoring for the night, and his wife Caitlin's Pet Service is sponsoring Carlson for the night. So it's definitely going to be interesting in that household, I'm sure, and especially if they both happen to get to be lumberjacks, and Jamie ends up thrown out in her direction, and Carlson's thrown out in his direction. It could be interesting. But Donnie, your thought?
I think the wild card here is going to be who's selected out of the fans to be the Lumberjacks. That actually worries me a little bit. I mean, there's some of the Lumberjacks that I think would be fun there, having the rights on opposite ends. You know, being able to affect the people that they sponsored, that would be pretty good. But you know, some of the other ones really scared me on this as well. But with that said, we just had a great conversation with Jamie Hall, and you know, I gotta go with Jamie. He's gonna do what he said he's gonna do, and he's got some payback coming for Ranch Hand.
Yeah, so you're taking Jamie here, and unfortunately, I am also going to have to take Jamie Hall. Um, he may give me a lot of crap for all the time. I was about to say from time to time, but all the time he gives me a lot of crap. But he's very talented in what he does. As we pointed out, he knows all the pressure points. He knows how to make somebody hurt. And in this lumberjack match, I'm sure he's going to be throwing out ranch hand in the direction of people that he knows will use the belt, such as if if Randy happens to be selected, I'm sure he'll make sure he throws him in Randy's direction since he's sponsoring Jamie, because and so I'm gonna have to go with ranch hand on this one. I mean, I'm sorry, with Jamie on this one. Um, I think he wants retribution. He is not happy over his first loss. We pretty well got that stipulated from and so I think Jamie Hall is going to take a victory on this one, and you know then obviously Jamie will be selecting the next stipulation, and of course he didn't want to tip his hand to let us know what it would be, but knowing Jamie, it's hard to say what Jamie would come up with, and there are so many good matches that he could do, and I'd love to see Jamie in. Last man standing match, Iron Man match. He did mention a submission match. So it's definitely interesting ideas. So I'm going to take him on this one. But then, as we already mentioned, um, we will get to see Zakar and Clay. They will be there. We'll get to hear from them. We'll see where things stand after the miscue that cost them the title. Zakar wasn't very happy over that. He didn't understand how Lady Glory got out of that cage, but now that he's had time to find out how she got out of the cage, I'm sure he's viewed footage from Juan, and I'm sure that he's got plenty of thoughts on that. And then the last match we have to discuss here is a triple threat match, a women's triple threat, where we're going to see Lady Glory from UCK versus Sis Sasaki versus Amara Void. This is going to be another great matchup. You've got Sis Sasaki, cancer survivor, had the fight of her life to survive that, um, versus Lady Glory of UCK, and UCK's gonna be in the building, so I'm sure they'll be right there. I'm sure that uh, they're gonna get involved, and you've got Amara Void, a former women's champion. You know, just as tough as they come. We haven't seen a lot of her lately. We really haven't seen a lot of her since she dropped the championship, but uh, she is coming. She is still there, and personally, I look forwards to seeing her, and I know she would love to get her hands on the champion again. And to do that, she has to claw her way back to the top. And so it's definitely going to be interesting. So, Donnie, who do you got in this one?
Again, like you said, really tough one. It's been a while since we've seen Amara Boyd. And you're right. I believe last time we saw her was when she did drop the belt. We've talked about Lady Glory already tonight. Again, she's vicious. It's the size of the fight in that dog is insane, and the things she can do. She can fly. She's very well versed in submission wrestling and just manipulating the joint locks that she's able to pull off out of nothing, out of nowhere. But then we have Sis Sasaki as well, and we know UCK is going to be there. So again, we go back to the numbers. There could potentially be 3 people, depending on how their match goes with Freak Show and if Clay and Zakara's already ran them off. But then with Sis Sasaki, there's a wild card too, the Jason Curtis thing, which we don't really have all the answers to. We just have Sasaki saying, yeah, they have a complicated relationship. All right, well, we didn't have any questions. Now we have questions. Define complicated relationship. Because I'd be wondering if I was Tiff Grady. Like, these guys, what's he not going? Like, I pay you. Why are you hanging out with Sis Sasaki? Questions. Again, questions. But with this one.
So who were you taking there, Donnie?
Sis Sasaki.
All right. So Donnie's going to take Sis Sasaki. And Randy, who you got winning this one, buddy? I'm going to take Sis Sasaki. And Randy, who you got winning this one, buddy?
I'm gonna have to go with Lady Glory. I think she's gonna do a big upset.
All right, so Randy's going to take Lady Glory in this one. And, honestly, I am going to have to agree with Randy, and I'll be taking Lady Glory as well. It's a triple threat match, so you got to remember anything goes in a triple threat. There really are no rules. So UCK can interfere all they want, and there's no disqualification for that. So that numbers game is just too much for anybody to overcome. I really believe that. Of course, you did mention that, that our former tag champs are going to be there. So could they play a role in things? They most definitely could. And, if they play a role in things, then, I could see a different outcome. But for the most part, I'm just going to have to go with Lady Glory and winning this one. It's just going to be a lot to overcome for Sasaki or Amara Void, either one. And, I like both of them. I think the world of them, but yeah, I just got to go Glory. So definitely looking forwards to those matches Saturday night. It's going to be a great night, and we want to thank Randy for everything, for all his sponsorships and everything that he brings. As we've said, Right Boys Towing and Hauling will be sponsoring. Hollow Jamie Hall. Caitlin's Pet Service will be sponsoring Ranch Hand Carlson. So we have turmoil in the household on that one, I'm sure, and definitely looking forwards to that matchup as well as all of them. So before we let you go, anything else you'd like to say before we let you go, Randy? Definitely looking forwards to that matchup as well as all of them. So before we let you go, anything else you'd like to say before we let you go, Randy?
Not really. Can't wait to see you all on Saturday.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see you there either. And it's guaranteed to be a fun night. Thank you for joining us, Randy. It's been a pleasure. And we will see you Saturday. Well, Donnie, that's another one in the books for us, episode 24. And, we did get a few answers and not a lot, though. Not a lot of answers, but we got a few from Jamie. And it's definitely going to be an interesting night, an interesting matchup. And I can't wait. I know that, unfortunately, you will not be in attendance for the night, though.
Right. Unfortunately, yeah. And it's killing me. It really is.
So we definitely will miss you. You're going to have to catch it on Frontline, though, to get caught up. But, I won't be by myself. We do have a fill-in for that night. I'm not going to announce who it is yet. You're just going to have to wait and see. But it's definitely going to be a fun night, I'm sure. And I'm looking forward to it. But we will miss you, Donnie. But we're glad that you could join us here tonight on Elevation, and glad to get your picks and everything in. And we will let you know how the night goes, buddy.
For sure. Again, hate that I miss it. It's one of those times where, you can't be two places at once, or three places in this case.
And the funny thing is, looking at the picks, you lean a lot towards the heels. You like all those guys, and I normally lean a lot towards the faces. I just get along with them so much better. But it looks like I picked mostly heels tonight, and you picked more faces than I did. So, it's surprising. You never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. You don't.
But, I want to thank Randy for joining us tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in here on Cinco de Mayo. Obviously, Jamie was ready for Cinco de Mayo. He had his Taco Bell and his sombrero, and apparently you had told him that y'all were going to be smashing some Taco Bell, but you didn't have yours. So shame on you for lying to Jamie like that. Now, I can't believe you'd do that. But
you also told him you weren't going to be here. So.
But yeah, so I mean, hey,
I had to get him on.
It was a great night. Thank you guys for joining us for our 1 year episode here. It's been an honor to be able to bring you Elevation for the past year, and thank you to Gavin for putting the show together for us. As far as Elevation, he does have a lot going on, so you will be seeing more of Donnie with me. But, Donnie, it's always a pleasure to have you. We always love having Gavin as well, and, he will be here from time to time as well. So another great episode. Thank you to everybody who helped put it together, and thank you to the fans for tuning in. And be sure to check out the show Code Red on Saturday night, coming to you live from South Berkeley Volunteer Fire Company. It's going to be another hard-hitting show that you're not going to want to miss. I am sure that we are going to end up with even more questions than what we have now, even though people will be there to get answers. I'm sure we ain't going to get them, but it's going to be something to see. So be sure to be there. Check us out. tune in 2 weeks for our next episode. Next week, tune in to Wrestle Talk Podcast, episode 241. It is the rescheduled interview with Kurt Gannon. He will be there. We originally said it would be a pre-record. He's going to be live with us, ladies and gentlemen. Things have changed so that he can be there, and we're looking forward to it. And so be sure to check out that episode 241 of Wrestle Talk Podcast. And so until then, everybody have a good night, and we'll see you Saturday.